Last week, unusual weather conditions in the port city of Zhoushan in China led the sky to assume a blood-red color, which caused many people in the area to question whether or not the end of the world had arrived. The voices of some of the locals could be heard to have a sense of terror in them as they captured the spooky occurrence that was witnessed behind heavy layers of fog, according to the Daily Mail. This was reported by the newspaper. Some people had the opinion that China will be cursed because of the crimson sky. What does it mean when there is a crimson moon? What exactly is the urban legend surrounding the blood moon? Keep an eye out for the video, in which we will respond to all of your questions later today. And in the meantime, don't forget to subscribe to Rapture World. Why should we wait then? Let's begin right away. As recordings of the occurrence amassed tens of millions of views on Chinese social media, the phenomenon of the crimson sky swiftly emerged as one of the most popular trending topics in the country. According to the Mail, some users on Douyin, China's version of TikTok, interpreted the crimson sky as a portent of ill things to come about in China's response to the COVID-19 outbreak. COVID has lately made a comeback in the city of Shanghai, which is located nearby and has just enacted additional stringent lockdowns. According to the interpretation of one user, it implies accidents will occur, with one more being added. We have started to build up my supply of essentials. Later, Chinese local media asserted that the blood-red sky was due to the refraction of lights from fishing boats on the water. According to the Global Times, the staff of the Zhoushan Meteorological Bureau was quoted as saying that when weather conditions are good, more water in the atmosphere forms aerosols which refract and scatter the light of fishing boats and create the red sky seen by the public. This statement was made in response to a question posed by the Global Times. Other users hypothesized that the unusual event might have been brought on by volcanic ash that is still present in the atmosphere as a result of the Tonga volcanic eruption that took place in January. It has been discovered by NASA that the consequences of the Tonga eruption have even reached space. According to yet another video that was uploaded by a user who was located further away from the port, the sky that was over the city was not all red. Rather, it was only red in the portion that was below the fog layer. According to statements made by researchers who were analyzing the event in 2017, they hypothesized that the red sky was generated by massive geomagnetic storm that was comparable in strength to the most violent one on record, which is known as the Carrington event of 1859. According to what was written in the article, magnetic storms of this kind occur when solar eruptions collide with the magnetosphere of the Earth, which is the shell of electrically charged particles that are held in place by the Earth's magnetic field. The researchers hypothesized that if a solar storm of the magnitude of Carrington were to strike the planet today, the resultant damage to power grids all around the world would be catastrophic, leaving the majority of people without access to energy. Commentator in Israel, upon hearing about the recent blood-red sky in China, brought up a common biblical analogy. The book of Joel in the Old Testament contains a line that describes blood and fire and pillars of smoke in the skies. During significant historical events such as this one, Bible scholars frequently refer to this verse. Joel chapter 2 verses 30 to 31 reads, "And we will perform miracles in the heavens and on the earth, with blood and fire and columns of smoke. Before the great and awful day of the Lord arrives, the sun is going to change into darkness, and the moon is going to turn into blood." Now let's have a look on blood moon was seen all over the United States this past weekend. Meanwhile, in the United States, amateur astronomers and other skywatchers were able to observe the first lunar eclipse of 2022 early on Monday morning. Depending on your time zone, this may have occurred late Sunday evening. This series of photographs was taken at Temple City, California, on May 15, 2022, during the first total lunar eclipse of the year and the first blood moon of the year. They depict the moon at various stages of the eclipse. As a result of the total lunar eclipse that occurred on May 15 to 16, the full moon appeared red across much of Europe and Africa, as well as North and South America, as reported by NASA. The moon must pass through the shadow that the Earth casts into space to generate a lunar eclipse. On the 15th of May, at approximately 9:32 p.m. Eastern Time, it got underway. At approximately 12:12 a.m. Eastern Time, the whole extent of the eclipse could be seen. This exceptionally long total eclipse lasted for 1 hour and 24 minutes in its entirety. The occurrence was referred to by some as a super-floral blood moon. As the moon moves entirely into the umbra, also known as the totality phase of the eclipse, NASA noted that the color of the moon would change to a reddish-orange hue. This alteration in the color of the moon is caused by the atmosphere of Earth. Some of the sunlight that strikes the Earth travels through the atmosphere, where it is refracted and colors like blue and green are filtered out, leaving longer wavelengths of light, such as the color red, behind. This is how the red hue is created. This effect can also be seen in sunrises and sunsets as the sky takes on a reddish-orange hue. A man named Jeffrey Johnson, who resides near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, snapped some photographs during the eclipse's progression and uploaded them to various social media platforms. Implications of the Bible concerning blood moons. In recent years, CBN News has stated that although certain forms of blood moons have scientific causes, many Christians also discern prophetic meanings behind them. These types of blood moons have been referred to as supermoons. This is because Scripture makes specific reference to them. In the book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 31, the Bible predicts that the sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the coming of the great and awful day of the Lord. This verse also predicts that a blood moon would occur. In another version of this verse, Acts chapter 2 verse 20 reads, "Before the great and remarkable day of the Lord comes, the sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood." A blood moon is also predicted in the book of Revelations chapter 6 verse 12. "And we observed after he had opened the sixth seal, and behold, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became like blood." The Bible makes reference to the moon turning a blood crimson color as a celestial indication that the end times are getting closer and closer. Since those chapters were written, there have been several blood moon occurrences that have taken place throughout history. However, Jesus instructed his disciples that we should notice the signs of the times, including signs in the heavens. A lot of preachers believe that the increasing frequency of blood moon eclipses over the past few years is only one of the numerous signals that the end of the world is getting closer and might take place at any time soon. Students of biblical prophecy point to other historic events as further signals of the end times. These events include the restoration of the modern state of Israel in 1948, the return of millions of Jews to the Holy Land, and potential antecedents to the biblical mark of the beast. What are your thoughts on the subject matter? Do mention it in the comments section below. So, as we near the end of the video, how did you find today's episode? This isn't the end. More real stuff will be released in the following days, and we will bring you the best of it here. That's all we have for today. If you want to see more videos like this one, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Enable post notifications while you're at it, so you don't miss any of our future uploads. We'll meet up again at the next one.